How did Urquhart not know that we were going to be hot?
Well, I think they got caught in a perfect storm. We reached out to that buddy of ours, Mike Tarr, there in San Antonio. He said, you'll recall back in 2011. I did not recall. We had that huge freeze and we had brownouts, and he goes, right after that, it got unbelievably hot and the grid was taxed. And he said, there's never a good time for widespread maintenance of facilities, and all of these guys don't coordinate with each other, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, isn't that kind of interesting?
So, we shut down the coal plant, let's say out here at Coletta Creek, at the same time that Steck has 2 gas generators offline, and all of a sudden our little part of the grid is taxed. So very interesting. Look at you, how young, just 3 years ago, how young you were.
That was quite a while ago.
Yeah, 3 whole years. There's baby Graydon.
Little guy.
He's a big guy now.
He's a big guy now.
Did you say, like, I want pancakes?
More or less.
Very excited, folks. First of all, it's called a Wednesday. You know what that means for everybody. And second, we have Lieutenant Colonel Alan West calling in this morning. Much anticipated reboot of. We reached out to him like mere days after he stepped down, I guess is right. We
announced his resignation. Yeah,
resigned.
He hasn't resigned yet.
Okay, so he's still on the clock.
Yes.
But he's stepping down, moving away from. Government happens slowly. He's moving away from the Republican Party as its chairperson.
As of this summer, when they elect a new chair.
Right. But you know that Lieutenant Colonel Alan West isn't going away. You know that he's not leading politics or service, if you will. So we've got to ferret out, beat out of him, if you will. What he's going
What's
to
next?
Do. What are we going to do? Ash will be very subtle. Then at the last minute, I'll come in and just form tackle him and say, tell us what you're going to do.
I'll do a huge preamble. And
yeah.
You'll get to the point.
The preamble to the constipation. We really like Alan West a lot. Just think that his message is just consistently on point.
Absolutely.
And he's very
common sense.
Very yeah. I was wrong about the open carry. I thought this is a little weird. This is kind of going back to Dodge City. Do we want just anybody to be able to strap on a gun? He said, well, do you want to have to ask the government before you say what's on your mind? He said that something that infringes on the rights of one person infringes on the rights of all people. Solid point.
Jeff Finley, good morning. Let's see who else is in.
Hello, Jeff Finley.
Chris Ray Brissett is in. BJ Nelson. Richard King, Craig Simpson, Marie Day,
Ricky Champagne King,
Justin Glass, Daniel White, Diane Tippett, Ryan Hopping, Pete Montana. What did Pete say? Besides go Habs.
What did he say? We don't something. Something was a
yeah, I was trying to get to that, and I'm not liking it.
I don't know how we get our comment section to be
I don't
bigger.
either.
It's not your fault. I'm not.
It's
not even remotely blaming you.
I'm
There it is. There it is right there.
Is it there?
Yes.
We don't have mosquitoes on the island. Yeah, brag. Nobody likes a braggart, Peter.
Do you think that's because the ambient temperature is substantially lower up there? I mean, I'm sure at night on Pete's Island, it's probably in the 50s every night.
Every night, 70s in the day, yeah.
I want to go there. Okay, what if we just did our show remote?
Even in the winter, it's kind of like that. Steve Kidder's in.
Hello, Steve Kidder.
Scott Tomko, Jim Simpson, Patrick Strauss, Michelle Hawkins.
How about that? How about the fact that San Diego is wasted on San Diegans?
Never used to be.
The weather's so perfect. It's just like Tijuana North. Place is a pit.
David Glass, Karen Webb, Chris Conrad. Good morning, everybody. Judge Posey's in. Lisa Poole.
Manny Machado. Fernando Tatis, Steve Garvey.
What are you making of the new rules? The search the pitcher as he comes off the mound like he's carrying contraband.
I think it's guilty until proven innocent. I think that it slows the game down, which is contra to everything that Major League Baseball has done there. I mean, you've got grown men, and they're like, hurry up, get your potty break. Hurry, hurry, hurry. the 7th inning stretch. They're playing the music faster. They're doing everything to make the games faster. And Joe Girardi, who was a real serviceable player for the New York Yankees back in the 90s, is now their manager and has been.
No, he's manager of the Phillies now.
Phillies now, yeah. He was manager of the Yankees for a while. And Girardi requested that Max Scherzer be basically strip searched 3 times.
I think he only requested one. The other were umpire.
Okay, so during a 5-inning stretch, Max Scherzer was searched 3, and on the
coming
third
off the mound 3 times.
On the third one, I mean, he's demonstrably upset. Threw his hat down, threw his glove down, and went straight to his belt and was going to drop trowel. I mean, he was going to take his clothes off coming off the mound.
Yeah.
Now, last night they did
who was the old announcer that did that mistakenly? And remember, he was cleaning up his pants after sliding into the base and just dropped him on the base pass.
He had the sliders on. But who was that?
Steve somebody, wasn't it? Worked on Fox for years.
That's crazy. They used to play that replay of him doing that.
And now Scherzer's is willing to do it, not absent-mindedly. But this is ridiculous.
Well, we
It's
said
almost making a mockery of the game.
All because Garrett Cole was just not going to answer the question. They asked him, do players put substances on balls? And he, instead of going, no, you kidding me? He could have even done it tongue-in-cheek, like, do you think a used car salesman would lie to you? He could have just had fun, but instead he turns around and he goes, well, there are things that John Kruk.
I don't think it was Kruk.
There are,
Kruk
would probably do it, yeah. There are traditions handed down from player to player, even modern era players that, probably could be.
Yeah.
But you heard Terry Poole just the other day. The consummate baseball.
Steve Lyons, thank you, Pete Montana. Thank you.
And Pete, you keep that up, you're going to be an American.
What's a good hockey lover boy like you doing knowing baseball stuff, Pete?
That's right. He's probably got Google going on the island. Faster, Gilligan. I need more power. Pedal faster, little buddy. But you've got guys that are just like, we cheat. I mean, it's baseball. I loved it the other day when Terry Poole said, my locker was next to Billy Hatcher. He was innocent. No, he wasn't. He hit a ball and his bat split in half and cork went all over the infield. I mean, it wasn't like they thought there was cork in his bat. No. He broke one. Yeah, and the umpire looked at it. And then the umpire looked at it again and they went, you're out of here.
The best one was, who was it? Remember balls went bouncing?
Oh, yeah, because they would put like
those little super balls in there.
Yeah, and then so the ball, it just gave the bat a reflex. It's crazy. It is great stuff. Baseball, to me, baseball, it's like when Kenny Mayne, the old ESPN announcer, if a player got called for holding in an NFL game, and they call Wildchild for cheating. He got caught cheating. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Baseball has nuances and things that the game polices itself. That's what makes it such a joke. That's why people are upset with players like Trevor Bauer for mouthing off about the cheating that the Astros did, because the Dodgers were doing it too, and everybody knows it. And so Bauer's like, and it's kind of like if you're the guy that gets caught, your buddy gets caught doesn't make you less of a thief.
No, I'm curious if this whole thing was started by the hitters who have been obviously frustrated this year with home runs down, batting averages down. You got to wonder if maybe some hitter planted this in some reporter's mind, and all of a sudden here we are. Right?
Nothing. When was the last time you heard about a fan who said, "I caught this ball and it was covered with a sticky substance"? It just doesn't happen.
Well, but here's the thing. Okay, it's increased the spin rate. The hitters aren't hitting home runs. They're not hitting for average like they were. But it's not like they were sticking a bunch of Vaseline on this ball and guys were getting ear-holed and their careers shortened.
Correct.
I mean, it wasn't hurting the game safety-wise.
More control.
Yeah.
It gives you more control. What I think is scary, Ash, is if you analyze.
Everybody was Mike Scott.
But right, if you analyze the rotation and now that everybody has video in every picture, curveball, it's here, fastball here, slider here, changeup here. Used to, you say, you see where his arm dips, he's throwing you the curveball there. Those days are over. It is mathematically impossible to hit a baseball. When they show you spin rates and arm deliveries, and it's only 60 feet 6 inches, and you've got 0.3 of a second to react, if you listen to all that garbage as a hitter, you're perplexed.
Yeah.
You've got no chance.
You would psych yourself out before you even got to the plate.
Absolutely. Don't get psyched out. If you end up on the side of the road, go to your phone, type in the letter A, and the first thing that's going to pop up is A, Allen's Wrecker Service. 578-6300. That's your go-to tow-to. Allen will get you home safe. Allen will make sure your vehicle. There's nothing worse, and we've all seen it. Don't act like you haven't seen it. Somebody besides Allen's is dragging a vehicle around, and there's sparks coming off the back of it because they're going over every bump at 60 miles an hour because they've got to get to the next stop, and they're just dragging people's bumpers off and all that. Allen's doesn't do that.
No.
They ain't doing. They charge you so much. They take care of your car. I'm kidding. Allen's, all that stuff's governed. Trust me.
VCS Rocket Oilfield Services, the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer. If you're a first responder, now's the time to get into AT&T and get FirstNet. If you don't have it now, what are you waiting for? Dedicated network just for you. I mean, why wouldn't you if you're a first responder?
Yep. That way you've got the ability to talk to other first responders in the event of an emergency that takes out common folk like us who don't have phone service. It's nice to know that police still do.
Yeah, and that's just one of the many offerings at VCS companies.
Chesnick Furniture, 101 years downtown, 70 in their new location. Get by there, see Bobby Leon and his family. Great folks. It's not just a place they sell you furniture. They will advise you on spaces and, well, if you thought about instead of putting a sofa there, what about a love seat and a best recliner? All that stuff. They're good at it. They've been doing it for generations. And their family will take care of yours. They say you just do better at Chesnick. We have coined the phrase Chesnick in love, make your house a home. Go by 116 West Juan Lynn, the corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge. And then, of course, today, folks, ding, 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 it's
Caldo Wednesday.
Caldo Wednesday, Bear Cruise. It's beyond expression. You get a bowl that is so it's a
no-brainer.
Yeah, go by, get the Caldo today.
It's so good.
Take the rest home and eat it for dinner.
Order tomorrow, 2 bowls. You can have some tomorrow.
It's fantastic. Fantastic.
You can take it to go.
So what do you make of Governor Abbott had legislation in this day and age, bipartisan legislation, something where two sides of the aisle agree, shake hands, and bring forward a law, a bill, makes you think that the governor should probably really strongly consider it. Then you throw in that this particular bill was about pets, about animals, which everybody likes. And it makes you stop and think.
Except for the governor.
Right. The governor apparently hates dogs. The legislation made it illegal to use those big, heavy chains. You see it in stereotype, it's always like a pit bull chained to a tree.
Maybe a mastiff of some sort.
Yeah. Pretty simple bill. Let's make that illegal. That's not the way it ought to be in Texas.
Floodwaters rise, dog can't get out because it's chained to a tree. Yeah.
Governor says, we don't need that level of micromanagement in Texas.
I find it interesting. This is the too much government intrusion in our life hill that he was going to die on.
Yeah, because my comment was he caught a lot of heat for micromanaging the pandemic. So is this his way of trying to show that he's learned from his errors?
Maybe.
Because politics always has a yin and a yang. It's always got an ebb and flow. It's always got a reason. He's not making this decision because he truly cares one way or the other about the dogs on the chain. He's making this decision because it'll shape the way we think about him at election time. And I'm not sure that this is going to help him. I
don't think it will.
People like me who are kind of, well, put it this way. I love animals and I strive to be a good pet owner. But I don't have the level of empathy for the average animal that Ash does. Ash cares about animals. So when you look at it like that, a guy like Ash is like, what do you mean, man? There's no reason to have that dog chained to that tree. It puts a little X by Abbott's resume for Ash.
It won't put an X on the ballot.
There you go. I mean, I don't know if it's enough to make you vote for somebody else, but it's certainly not a reason why I'm voting for Greg Abbott, because he didn't want to micromanage my pet ownership.
Which is interesting, because I believe in order to enact change in that matter, the state has to weigh in on it. So the state needs to either do away with it and give that jurisdiction locally.
Yeah, isn't the state the ultimate maker of the rules for animal cruelty?
Exactly. So, I don't know. There's no need. I mean, there's no reason for a dog to have a chain like that.
I don't know why he would veto that. I mean, both. And here's the deal: both. It was a bipartisan deal. You know.
Yeah.
It's a little odd. When was the last time we had a bipartisan deal out of D.C., for example?
I have no idea. No clue. None at all. I don't think we've had one in a long time.
That's got to be Zach Smith, right?
Yeah.
Did the Generals play well last night?
They were on the road.
They were on the road?
Or you never don't know.
I'll tell you, played well on the road yesterday, the Texas Longhorns. After falling to Mississippi State the other night.
Striking out a gazillion times.
Oh, man, it was terrible. But their bats were alive yesterday. In each inning with 2 outs, they played well.
Their 6th run, and I'm not sure that was actually a 6th run.
The run with Hodo. Okay, so here's my deal. You got a guy, they sent the player, fastest player on the team. And it appeared at the time the umpire says,
deep right center.
You're safe. And the kids, so picture this, the catcher is straddling the bag. He bends down to tag the kid. And he tags him mid-thigh. While that tag is being applied in a less than a heartbeat, the left heel is also touching the plate. Or close enough that the umpire said, no, you're safe. So the evidence to overturn it has to be irrefutable.
Yeah, it was
even
hard.
Though there were 2 views where I went, yeah, he's out. He's out. There were also 2 views where I said, it looks like his foot touched right there. And if you can't
irrefutably
overturn it, that's why that people say, well, what difference does it make? That first call is of utmost importance, because if he would have called him out, there also would not have been evidence to overturn him to be safe. I don't think.
No.
But take that run away, Horns would have still won. It was 8-4 Texas.
Different game, different mindset down over one. But,
I'll tell you a couple of things I saw.
Good bounce back game for the Horns.
There was one play, bases were loaded.
Tennessee, right? Tennessee, wasn't it?
Yeah. The other UT. Yeah. Although we're Texas,
the only 10 I see.
Well, Texas is the other UT. The University of Tennessee, or Tennessee, the University of Tennessee's been around since, honestly, 1795, something like that. But there was one play, bases loaded. Guy hits a sharp ball to third. He throws it home for 1. That guy turns and throws it to the inside for 2 at first. Beautiful play. There was another play where the second baseman is ranging out to his left towards first base, catches it, and does just a really ballet-like pirouette, turns, flips it to the shortstop, catches it, flips it onto first for another double play. It was actually like big league baseball at the D1 level. Big league baseball last night. Astros win 3-2.
They've been on a tear.
They're folks. Greinke, did Greinke get that win? I think he did. Let me tell you something. If he did, he goes to 8-2, and all of a sudden he's kind of earning his keep. But the Astros are,
I would say, almost
good.
Cy Young type season.
Yeah,
except
really
the ERA is a little high.
Yeah, but did you see? Am I right? Somebody correct me if you follow this better than me.
3-1 was the score.
3-1. So Greinke had to get the win, right? If you're
8-2.
If you're telling me that the Orioles team ERA is 5.67, well, that's everybody. So that's every inning. So that's every game. They average giving up between 5 and 6 runs every game, earned runs, because that's per 9 innings.
Yeah.
I mean, my ERA might be 11, You know, I give up 2 runs in an inning and a half or something, and then I'm out. But I could come back and pitch 7 innings. All of a sudden, my ERA's back to 3. But for them to give up, they give up almost 6 earned runs a night.
Wow, they're
You
terrible.
can't win. You can't win.
And they don't.
No.
Winning percentage of .315.
Yeah, you cannot. You cannot do that.
It might be the worst team in the majors.
Really might be.
And they are. No, Arizona's worse.
Beautiful ballpark, Camden Yard, just beautiful place.
Yeah, it was Baltimore. Nobody wants to live there anymore.
Right. What is Baltimore? Seriously, what is Baltimore, Maryland known for? Is it
being a
does it
suburb of
have
DC?
proximity to DC?
Yeah, it's close. Yeah, Jeffrey Fonseca says those double plays are big time momentum builders.
Yeah,
and momentum killers from the other perspective. But hockey minute, and then we'll get into our break at the bottom of the hour.
Very excited for Allen West.
Vegas comes out flying. Montreal has one opportunity. They capitalize on it. It's a 1-0 game. Montreal just plays patient hockey. After that, they end up winning 4-1. They lead that series 3-2. They go back to Montreal for game 6.
So do you think in Vegas, because I was going to joke with you that I could picture you saying, Vegas comes out rolling the dice. Vegas comes out betting it all. Okay, right? Do you think in Vegas, do they downplay that connection to the gambling? What's your thought?
No.
No, they tie it in. It's okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you've been able to bet on hockey games in Canada. And Canada yesterday passed legislation in their Senate that'll now go to royal assent for single game betting, because the provincial lotteries there have a thing, like you could bet on games, but you had to parlay it, had to pick at least 2 or 3 games in order to bet on the games, right?
Right.
But now you can bet on single games, and I'm sure the lotteries will be involved. I'm curious to see. They got some time to work this out. I'm sure. I wonder if this will open up sports books into the casinos. But the numbers were astonishing at the illegal bookie trade, and that's what this boils down to. The government isn't doing this just because it's fun. The government is doing this because there's a whole bunch of money to be made, because we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in Canada, which would be the equivalent of hundreds of billions in the US, being illegally bet on athletic events.
Yeah, the government just wants their cut of it.
They just want their cut of it. That's all this is for.
There you go. I tell you who doesn't want to cut it all. They're just trying to make friends. Atzenhofer, the Atzenhofer dealership, they made so much money back in the 50s and 60s when they were only, say, 30 years old. But now they're just trying to make friends and help people out. Whether you need a new Suburban, Escalade, you need a Mitsubishi, you need a Mazda, Caddy, Chevy, whatever. Reach out to the Atzenhofer dealership. Do it at atzenhofer.com. Go in today. Go to atzenhofer.com and just type in certified and just go look at the pre-owned vehicles that are of great value. Very low mileage, all inspected, all extended warranties. It's a beautiful deal. I'm mesmerized watching this man mow the yard next door. That's going to be Colonel Allen West. And we may get with the Colonel quick, and then we'll catch this break afterwards. But
good morning, Wade and Carter.
Colonel,
that's not it at all.
But, you tried, and sir, thank you. First of all, welcome. You're always a highlight. But I'll tell you, so always remember that I'm Carter, and he's Wade. It's in our contracts. But I was going to joke with you and tell you that Ash literally just a minute ago looked over, and the phone button, which is down under a shelf to the right over here, under some baling wire,
was engaged.
It was engaged. And so if you were calling, you were probably getting a busy signal or something. It's just like, well, it's just, we'll tell you this.
It's not because our phones are busy.
It's because people were just calling in by the hundreds with questions. That's what it was. How are you, sir? First of all, personally, how's your family? How's your health? Good for you.
Grandfatherhood is awesome. I've got a 3-year-old grandson, and it's so different from parenting. If this would be parenting, boy, life would have been so much.
But you know, it's all relative because I've got a daughter that just got married a month ago. I've got one that's single and a son in college, and I'm very glad that I'm not a grandfather at this point.
There you go.
Are you following me on that? I'm grateful that I'm not. You know, Ash is honestly more than like the political aficionado. He follows things probably more closely than I do. But at 30,000 feet, we've been very intrigued, maybe even nosy, about just what the heck you're up to, sir. Because we looked real hard at the agenda for this session, and I know from visiting with you in the past that there were 8, maybe 9 things that really mattered to you. And
Yeah. How can they even do that? Have they not just abdicated their duty as elected representatives? Is there no recourse?
do you feel that the current air and the ability of the Dems to somewhat abandon their post, does that point to a weakness in Greg Abbott? Is he a weak governor? I mean, would a different governor maybe say, hey, look, you need to get back up here, or I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you don't get reelected?
Oh, they'd be calling for their heads. They'd be calling for them to all be removed from their seats. I mean, the same things that probably should be called for now for a bunch of people that just walked out on their duty to govern this state.
I guess that would be the natural progression is people should make note. People should remember this the next time they vote, and they should, vote the bums out. That's what ought to happen.
So that was number one, election integrity. It didn't happen. I ran into Jeannie Morrison, our state representative, the other day, and she was saying that she's just waiting for the call to happen. Let's kind of walk through these and give us your take on why these did or did not pass. The next one on the list was religious freedom. Yeah. Children and gender modification. And it's amazing to me how many how the left spins this, that well, kids are kids, we got to let them be kids, but in certain issues they don't want kids to reach the age of 18 to make decisions on their own. They want them to be able to make decisions that they probably shouldn't be making at certain ages. The next on the list was abolition of abortion. Yep. Constitutional carry.
Colonel, isn't constitutional carry is open carry? If you want to conceal carry, you still need your LTC, correct? No? No. And that's one thing we pointed out here on the show is I can't, of those other 20, I can't name one. Number one, I probably can't name one, to be honest. And number two, I can't name one where, oh yeah, man, there was a big increase in crazy gun violence because of this legislation. We love the well, because you got to protect your maple syrup. You and I love the banter and the candidness, and I've told the story many times about how excited we get when you're going to come on, and you won't remember this because you're a media superstar, but I had asked you. I said, do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this constitutional crazy people? And you said, well, you want to go ask your daddy every time you want to say something? Do you need to go to the government to ask them for your freedom of speech? And I said, well, no, sir. It's the same thing. And once you detailed it, completely changed my mindset, which leads me to something before Ash keeps going down this list, this monotonous list of legislation. What are you going to do next, man? We want to know. You could tell us, but you might have to kill us or what? We have a guess. Can we guess? Can we guess?
Are these future political opportunities in the state of Texas?
I can't tell you that. Well, I'll tell you, sir, that the compliment that I would give you is this. Ash and I discussed this at length and made the determination that you're a doer and you're certainly not a quitter. And we looked at it and said, I know he's not thrilled with the way this legislative session went. So what could Allen West do to more effectively affect change in the state of Texas? And it led us to 2 chairs. It leads us to either the chair of governor or the chair of lieutenant governor. And I think it's realistic. Knowing you the way I think I know you, I'm going to go ahead and make the prediction that our friend, if you can see me now, I'm holding an envelope to my head like Karnak. Yeah, the great, yes, sir. I am going to predict that at some point in the near future, you will announce that you are going to run for the seat of lieutenant governor. That's what I believe is going to happen. And I'm not asking you to confirm or deny, just like you would not confirm or deny that you doctored the baseball when you used to pitch. I'm with you. Were you an athlete? Were you a sports guy as a kid? Awesome. I'm a track star. I like that. Star. I like that. I didn't go out there. Did you? So it's bad. Did you really?
I could those things. The footwork in hurdling is people don't realize that there's a lot there.
Now, as you deflected effectively, back to
I plowed the hurdles.
Back to your announcement of running for lieutenant governor. When do you think that? No, I'm giving you the highest compliment I can give you, sir. I would be so thrilled to see you unseat Dan Patrick. I would.
How much did the lack of movement in these priorities play a role in your decision to step down?
I know you to be a man of great faith, and to paraphrase, I know you were raised right. And I look at our state that I still think of Texas in general as a fairly godly state. And when you see uh, folks in our state who would abort a baby uh, at yes, sir. I agree. Too, and I'm always very hesitant to say, "Oh, the state needs to step in and take that kid." But you've got moms trying to alter the genitalia of their children. You've got, just on and on the things that are just blatantly evil, beyond grotesque, hard to comprehend in our state. And you see those things every day. And now there's legislation about them. You know, how do you deal with that? How do you get in there and really make a difference without just pulling your hair out and saying this is ridiculous? Why are we this is wrong? Why are we even having to deal with this? Do you see a potential need for a new direction, maybe a different party than the Republican Party for what we want to achieve? Okay.
Why does it appear that the Republicans are so afraid to take these stands? Are they trying to appease too many people?
I just, I love to hear you speak. And so you know our buddy Bill Posey. Bill Posey, our retired Navy SEAL here in Victoria, and
Chair of the Republican Party.
And Bill and BJ Nelson, our BJ and Scott Nelson, our friends here, they constantly they poke fun at, they ridicule, and they point out that we, Wade and Carter, were not invited to your home for barbecue, and that they have had opportunities to visit with you in person that we were not afforded, and we would just like to shamelessly beg for that opportunity at the next I'm just telling you, they're hardened people, sir, and they really just go. Well, when Bill Posey left, he said, "Tell my dear friend and dinner mate, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, that I said hello." You know.
Yes, he did. Yes.
Basically, he did. He's 75 years old, and we're still scared to death of him. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. When getting back to a little more serious topic, and you touched on a little bit with the human trafficking and the border. Is the governor doing enough? Can he do anything that really is effectual, or is this just more a little bit of political grandstanding on Greg Abbott's part by announcing funding and construction of the border wall?
The numbers are staggering. You know, last May, the number was like 17,000 were detained at the border or sent back, and this year it was like 171,000. It was like tenfold. You got to be. One other question: in your congressional district where you live, is there a Democrat in that district that might need to be unseated? Okay, I just wonder. I'm working my brain backwards, you know. I do want to tell you, sir, that has been said to me, because we were going to have you on, you know, and we had technical difficulties, and Ash and I always just take that as like, hey, everything happens for a reason, and we really just roll with it. But after that, and we're very fortunate to have a strong listenership of folks that do care about politics. And after that, we had, and Ash, nod your head, we had numerous people say, you know, we know he's not going to go away. We're wondering what he's going to run for. And then people did point out, I bet he runs for Congress because there's a ne'er-do-well in his very district. So I just wanted to, you know, we're not trying to really put you on the spot, but we'd love to be first. There. Right.
Well, it was obvious last election when they had all this money from outside the state pouring in to support Wendy Davis, pouring into, you know, for Beto when he was running up against Ted Cruz. I will say this, the Dems are better at that than the Republicans in getting outside forces to try to influence in-state elections.
Yes, sir. I'll tell you, I totally agree, sir. And when you break down the demographics, I like to think Texas, we're all just Texans. And you can't live in a city like Victoria and not have 50% of your friends. They are Hispanic. I mean, it's the demographic we live in. I think that the Democrats have grossly underestimated the negative impact of their open door policy. My Hispanic friends and the people that I know that have small businesses and the people that I know that are landowners who happen to be people of color are tired of it. And I believe there's a really strong chance that with the right leadership, we can secure Texas as a red state forever by just saying, hey, we're Texas and we're not going to just take it from DC anymore.
Well, you talked about the unification. Do you think we're to a point, because you see the pushback, and it seems to be starting in mostly, school districts around the country, where people are getting tired of what's being introduced under the critical race theory, which the left will deny even exists, and then they'll turn around and say that it does exist. But do you think we've reached the point where this division and conquer by division that the left has tried to do and seems to have culminated with critical race theory, people are pushing back? Do you think, people are tired of this? And they didn't see that coming. Yep.
Awesome.
Well, travel safe. We appreciate your time as always, and thank you for your insight and your strong messaging. And
yes, sir.
Good luck in the future, and we'll chat again soon.
When you announce, sir, please know that we've already got a group together that wants to host a fundraiser for you. So please keep us on your list.
Awesome.
I bet. We love you.
Thank you, sir.
See you soon. We will. Bye-bye. Folks, we're going to get out of here today, and we owe some advertisers some love, and we will give it to you. That's what they give to you. Be advised of the folks at like White Trash Services and the law offices of Steve Kidder, JP Hull, Razor IT Solutions,
Model Mortgage, the Gray
Barn, Witt Services, USA
Concrete Coatings.
Those folks just gave you their time so that you could listen to Lieutenant Colonel Allen West and
uninterrupted.